Alright, so Rian Johnson's latest mystery sequel, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, is finally on Netflix, so you poor chumps that missed it during that random week in theaters are finally in luck. Famed Detective Benoit Blanc is back at it, so in this video we're going to be slicing open the Glass Onion and do a full breakdown of the film, explain the twist ending, some Easter eggs, hidden details you may have missed, along with our reaction and review of this latest Netflix mystery movie. With that out of the way, a huge thank you for clicking this. I'm your host, Jared. Now let's get into Glass Onion. Alright, so Glass Onion quickly introduces our group of players all having some sort of connection or let's say friendship with a billionaire playboy philanthropist by the name of Miles Braun, each receiving a similar mystery puzzle boxes. While each jumps on a group call to solve the puzzle together, the characters slowly reveal themselves. Claire DeBella, the governor of Connecticut, now running for Senate, Lionel Toussaint, the head scientist for Miles' company named Alpha, Birdie J, a former supermodel turned fashion designer, and Duke Cody, a Twitch streamer and men's rights activist. Along with them is Peg, who is Birdie's assistant, and Whiskey, Duke's girlfriend and Twitch channel assistant, so hit that like button, fam. Together, they solve the various puzzles of the puzzle box, revealing an onion-looking shape with a personal invite to Braun's private Greek island for the weekend murder mystery party getaway from the craziness of 2020. Ironically, the symbol on the invite is that of a Greek evil eye, or mati, which usually symbolizes a curse given by one person to another by the way of spiteful or a bitter look, hinting Braun may have some sort of power over this group. Janelle Monáe's character, Cassandra Andy Brand, also receives a puzzle box, however was not included in the group call, and instead shows her hilariously smashing the puzzle box open rather than solving each of the puzzles. Meaning she's unlike the others, and her current situation being in a robe in an unfinished basement adds to this. Benoit Blanc makes his appearance playing the social video game Among Us. This both gained popularity back in 2020, but also is essentially a murder mystery game. Funny enough, he's playing with a handful of real celebrities, each having a tie to some sort of mystery series themselves. Stephen Sondheim co-wrote The Last Sheila, a 70s mystery movie. Natasha Lyonne is set to star in Johnson's upcoming mystery series, Poker Face. Angela Lansbury starred in the classic drama Murder, She Wrote, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar previously played himself in the 1954 murder mystery Fletch. Unfortunately, Blanc desperately needs a real mystery because he is just withering away in the tub. There's a copy of Cain's Jawbone on the floor, a murder mystery puzzle from the 1930s, featuring several time jumps, foreshadowing that the film won't follow a chronological structure. When all of a sudden, a knock on his door reveals him receiving a mystery puzzle box himself. Blanc is seen checking his watch, which happens to be an Omega, the same watch brand that James Bond wore, of which Daniel Craig portrayed this character. So like, it's all connected, man. But he's waiting for the ferry to take him to Braun's Island as all of the others show up. Again, with this taking place during the 2020 lockdown, the masks of each character really shows us their true character. Blanc, Lionel, and Peg wear their masks and social distance, rule followers. Claire, with hers under her nose and money in her mouth, she does one thing but kind of feels another, like a true politician. Birdie sporting a mesh mask, which honestly, that does nothing. This could even be a reference to Lana Del Rey wearing one in a music video back in 2020, and Duke and Whiskey don't wear masks at all, hugging everyone else. Further showing the wealth, power, and technology of Braun, Ethan Hawke just makes a random cameo, cures them of any potential illnesses, so masks will no longer be needed. Andy makes a last-minute arrival as the rest of the group are shocked by her appearance. Blanc is informed that Andy was actually booted out of Braun's company without a dime, so her being there is a bit odd. Upon arriving to the island, Miles Braun, played by Edward Norton, greets them with playing the Beatles song Blackbird on the exact same guitar Paul McCartney wrote the song on, allegedly. Here, you instantly know Braun's character by his actions. One, he instantly discards this treasured guitar with history and story like it's nothing. And him playing Blackbird is a bit hypocritical because it's said that the inspiration for this song came from the civil rights troubles in 1960s southern United States, but yet he has just found out that he screwed over a black woman and kicked her out of his company. So, yeah, Braun is, he's starting off great. There's pleasantries between the group, Braun saying that the whole weekend is just them until a random dude just walks by.
Just us.
Hey!
Hey, bro.
Not here.
Who's that?
That's Daryl.
This is a great ongoing joke throughout the film, but this is actor Noah Segan. He may look familiar because he did play Trooper Wagner in the first Knives Out film and has been featured in Rian Johnson's other films, like all of them. Another ongoing cameo or voice cameo is when Braun is showing off the glass onion and the hourly dong is heard. The dong is recorded by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who has also been in all of Johnson's other films, revealed by Johnson in an interview. Now, the first bit of the mystery at the core of Glass Onion is revealed, as Blanc was not originally invited to the murder mystery weekend. Someone must have reset the boxes and sent him theirs, but Braun argues this legitimizes the mystery having the greatest detective ever to be in attendance, while Blanc pushes back a bit, saying,
Mr. Braun, I've learned through bitter experience that an anonymous invitation is not to be trifled with.
Which ties back to the first film with Ransom anonymously hiring Blanc, hoping to frame Marta. Down at the pool, Braun mentions some Jared Leto hard kombucha, which is a slight reference to Leto being a free spirit type, I don't know, let's call it that, but more so their roles together in David Fincher's Fight Club. Braun apparently lives in the Stone Age, though, because he gets everything sent to him via a fax machine, which sort of popped up earlier when Lionel was complaining about the insane things he has faxed. Like AI in dogs equals discourse, probably being a reference to the real course of Boston Robotics and their dog robots being useful, like moving things like luggage, but the discourse comes from law enforcement using them to fire weapons. So everything in this layered glass onion has a meaning if you're looking deep enough. Blanc learns more about the group, why they are all connected, and why they are, quote, disruptors. First, Birdie sweeping the market with her Sweetie Pants fashion line. I feel like this is actually taking real-life inspiration from Kate Hudson and her Fabletics fashion line. Duke becoming the first Twitch streamer to hit 1 million subscribers, Claire being a stay-at-home mom with her shaking up the political sector, and Lionel pushing the boundaries of science. Braun mentions an infraction point, which I'm pretty sure is entirely made up, pushing the limits of his company Alpha as well, but gets cut off by Andy, blowing up each of their spots. Lionel's research being funded by Braun, Claire's campaign being bankrolled by Braun. Braun was an angel investor in Sweetie Pants after Birdie went on Oprah comparing herself to Harriet Tubman, which is definitely a reference to the real-life Rachel Hollis, motivational and lifestyle influencer, making the same claim. And Braun coming to Duke's rescue after being banned from Twitch for selling boner pills. Basically, each of them is owed a debt to Braun under a curse of the evil eye hanging on to his golden titties, and each has a reason to kill him. The party kicks off with it first being revealed that Miles is renting the Mona Lisa. Yes, the Mona Lisa from the French to, again, show off his wealth, power, and status. Explaining that the painting has something so simple to it, but the longer you stare, the more complex it gets. Much like the mystery of Glass Onion, but luckily safeguards for sound and fire have been put in place, but in Braun fashion, an override button has been installed. The reason for the Mona Lisa is that Braun is about to unveil the new source of renewable hydrogen-based solid energy called Clear. Yes, that's with a K. Edgy, right? This is what Lionel and the other scientists were talking about at the beginning of the film, arguing it hasn't even been tested, but Braun reveals that the entire Glass Onion is being powered by Clear. No surprise, the light fixture above the table during dinner is shaped like a giant clear crystal, foreshadowing later events of the film. The murder mystery kicks. Oh, wow. Okay, that was supposed to take the whole weekend, but Blanc solves it in a matter of minutes, basically ruining the weekend for this very fun explanation of events. Braun upset, saying he paid Gillian Flynn tons of money to craft the mystery and twists. She, of course, is the author of some great mystery novels out there like Gone Girl and Sharp Objects, so it's nice to, see a nod to her work. However, Blanc says it was all purposeful, warning Braun that bringing all of these people to a secluded island, each with a motive to kill him, would be like leaving a loaded gun on a table and turning the lights off. Not safe and not smart at all. Tensions grow hotter between the group when suddenly Duke can't breathe, dropping his drink and dropping dead. No sign of an obstructive airway, just dunzos. Unfortunately, the ferry and authorities cannot come due to low tide, so the group has to hang out until 6 a.m. Miles notices Duke had picked up his drink by accident, and whoever spiked the drink actually wanted Miles dead. Suspicious of everyone now, Blanc notices Duke's gun is gone too, and it gets worse as Braun had scheduled the power to go off during the murder mystery party as everything goes dark. Everyone panics, running amok in the Glass Onion. No one trusts anyone when Blanc runs into Andy, mentioning something along the lines of only one piece of evidence is needed before she is shot by a stranger using Duke's gun. Everyone is now a suspect, and the killer is still on the loose as the film slowly zooms into Mona Lisa's eyes, reinforcing the statement from earlier, it's never what you thought you were looking at, as the biggest twist of the film is revealed. So taking a page from Kane's jawbone mentioned earlier, the film flashes back to when Blanc received the mystery box delivery. But it wasn't delivered by a FedEx driver, it was Andy's twin sister, Helen, the old dead twin switcheroo, same actor playing the different character trope. Now, if you were paying attention before the flashback, Blanc does slip up calling her Helen instead of Andy.
Helen!
Anyway, Helen snoops around, finding an email that her sister had sent earlier to the Disruptors saying that she'd found it. She's gonna burn down the entire empire and gonna give them one last chance to make things right, with a picture of her holding a red envelope, of course alluding to her being pushed out of Alpha and them testifying against her. However, Helen looked everywhere, but the red envelope was nowhere to be found. The two hatch a crazy plan for them to both attend the mystery party weekend, having Helen go undercover as her sister to find her true killer. Before this parent trap type plan, Helen informs Blanc of the past 10 years before the group was rich and famous or even met Braun. Andy was the one who saw potential in all of them, later introducing Braun to the group. Now you're probably asking yourself, why the heck is Edward Norton dressed like Tom Cruise from Magnolia? I'm sure Johnson thought it would be cheeky, but both characters share similar characteristics, being these scummy men talking themselves into success, and those flowing locks. But also David Bowie's Starman is playing in the background, adding more to Braun, essentially seeing hope in the youth of the group and how they can change the world, how they are disruptors, each slowly finding success. Though Andy is the one to come up with the Alpha Company idea on a napkin, partnering with Braun and bringing the rest of the crew with them. Braun wants more with the Clear program, rocking an inspired Steve Jobs look with a black turtleneck and blue jeans, as this kind of feels like an Apple situation, as Andy is pushed out of the company by everyone testifying against her, claiming the napkin idea was originally created by Braun. Andy then finds the original napkin in a copy of The Innovator's Dilemma, which tackles the concept of disruptive technologies, and this is where Andy sends the email that the Helen originally came across. Now, flashback to the island as we see the events from Helen's point of view, rather than what the movie has shown us so far, as she overhears a conversation with Lionel and Claire, stating that they both signed off on Clear, but know that it's a heck of a bad idea with leaks of massive hydrogen gas in the air in homes, and this could be a whole Hindenburg situation. Now, the Hindenburg was a giant airship from the 1930s filled with hydrogen and exploded due to a fire, killing dozens. Basically, Clear is a bit of a foggy product. Some of the group lets Helen know that none of them emailed back because they called. They didn't want a paper trail and instead showed up at Andy's home, but she wasn't there, with Duke saying he almost got pancaked on the way over. Another celebrity cameo is Serena Williams on the workout screen, and if you pause, you can see what book she is reading. It's Gravity's Rainbow, which is a reference to the first Knives Out when Blanc claims that no one has read the book.
Gravity's Rainbow.
It's a novel.
Yeah, I know. I haven't read it, though.
Neither have I. Nobody has.
During the party, Helen purposely started the fight with Duke to be sure to have a reason to leave and search everyone's room for the red envelope. Her phone continues to buzz, finally checking to realize that her sister's death had finally been leaked to the press. All of these friends and family were sending their regards, but if you look closely, the names featured are a handful of editors and visual effects people who worked on the film. This is bad news, though, because Helen's cover is essentially blown, leading to right where the time jump happened, and Helen, not Andy, is shot. But something we didn't see before is her pocket diary stopped the bullet. She did not die. Blanc needs to search the glass onion for the envelope, and with the killer thinking that Helen is dead, they douse her in the Jeremy Renner hot sauce from earlier. This and the hot sauce in the eye bit has got to be a reference to the Jeremy Renner Hot Ones episode where he gets hot sauce in his eye. As Blanc distracts everyone who may or may not be the killer, Helen makes her way up to the glass onion, only to find the red envelope had been staring us right in the face the entire time, right behind the forged one. Blanc comes to his own infraction point that Miles Braun wasn't some sort of complicated genius, but a straight-up idiot, making up words, paying for puzzle boxes and mysteries, again tying into it's never what you thought you were looking for. No one really tried to kill Braun, it was him who killed Duke. If you pay close attention, Braun handed Duke his drink, Duke didn't accidentally pick it up. This is because Duke saw Braun leaving Andy's house the night she died. Braun had killed Andy, and Duke was the only witness, adding that he had almost hit him in his baby blue sports car. Then when Duke's Google alerts informed him of Andy's death, Duke saw this as an opportunity to blackmail him into getting essentially that spot on the Alpha Cable News Network. Braun couldn't have this happen, so he slipped a little bit of pineapple juice into his drink because at the docks from earlier before boarding the ship, Duke admits that he is deathly allergic.
No pineapple in there, right? Duke don't dance with pineapple.
There's no pineapple.
Braun then stole his phone and silenced the Google alert so the others wouldn't discover Andy's death and that Helen had taken her place. Braun is a certified dum-dum, nothing smart about his plan at all. He literally stole Blanc's hypothetical scenario of leaving a loaded gun on a table and then turning off the lights.
What an idiot!
Helen reveals she has the napkin to take him down, claiming the original has the name of the bar on it, but Braun burns the napkin evidence out of her hands, meaning that they are back to square one. There's nothing they can do. Blanc even says that it's out of his hands, nothing the courts or authorities can do now. Helen goes on a hissy fit, smashing all of Braun's sculpture, treasured items, lighting the bar on fire, but there's something he missed. Blanc had slipped her the raw clear from earlier. Helen goes straight up Walter White, throwing it into the fire, exploding the entire glass onion because the hydrogen elements were highly flammable like the Hindenburg. Even the glass onion dome looks like it has the same outside structuring as the Hindenburg. The entire place goes up in flames, with the final move of Helen's being the destruction of the Mona Lisa. Nate King Cole's Mona Lisa begins to play as Helen makes her way over to the override button. As that some beach burns, Braun knows that he's absolutely but it's even worse than he thought because the Mona Lisa is destroyed, but clear the energy source is going to be the thing that's reported on having done it. Everything he scummily built is done, but at least he got his wish of forever being remembered in the same breath as the Mona Lisa. Glass Onion comes to a close, Helen winning and slowly zooming into her face similar to the Mona Lisa right before the time jump from earlier, symbolizing she has won. The credits perfectly finish with the Beatles' Glass Onion playing, wrapping up the many different layers of the plot with multiple suspects, all of their own motives secrets, and ways their lives and careers overlap, also kind of paralleling the first Knives Out with everyone trying to leech off of one character. Before we wrap things up, there are so many clever red herrings, references, and other details tucked away in Glass Onion that we gotta talk about. First, of course, being the constant misdirects Rian Johnson subtly hid in plain sight to throw the viewers off of Miles Braun being the actual killer. For example, starting with some of the characters, specifically Batista's Duke, Cody, using an Android phone instead of iPhones. The reason so is because in the first Knives Out, it was kind of a small detail that actually gave away the murder because they were using an Android while everyone else was using an iPhone. But this time they did the old switcheroo. The missing knife from the kitchen being revealed Birdie had taken it and described as, quote, dangerous by Blanc earlier in the film, meaning she could have and would have killed. Even the conversation between Helen and Blanc in the bathroom has Birdie's face smack dab in the middle of the little mirror in the background, making you think the movie is being sly, giving you hints, when it's not, or at least that's how I felt. But aside from the red herrings, there were quite a few small details and dialogue that spell out Miles Braun is most likely the murderer, where the envelope is, and Miles being an idiot without any sort of original idea. So if you put on your little detective hat, you may have noticed one of the first things Lionel says about Braun is that he's gonna get somebody killed. The puzzle box in the opening has a specific puzzle that looks identical to the framed napkin we see later. There's even a little red square where we later discover the original envelope was hidden. Blanc's speech about the truth being hidden under a pile of lies. The pile of lies was the forged napkin with the real one underneath. When Braun leans in to talk about Andy and the good old days of the Glass Onion, he is shrouded in darkness while Blanc is in the light, being a good versus evil symbolism on screen. When Braun jumps on the couch after Duke's death, we can briefly see Duke's phone poking out of his back pocket. This happens a couple of times before it's finally actually revealed by Blanc towards the end of the film. A brief look at Helen's notepad shows Miles already has motive and opportunity next to his name before her and Blanc can even get to the island and investigate. We later discover Braun is an unoriginal idiot, by all means just ripping things off from Steve Jobs' iconic look, the Tom Cruise look from Magnolia, the events of the evening being stolen from Blanc when he explains everything earlier in The Glass Onion, claiming he crafted the dinner murder mystery, but it was actually purchased from someone, even burning the envelope after Lionel suggests it, and some of the paintings in the main area are upside down like the Rothko here. But the very first sign of Braun's idiocy, he's a phony, all of it, is him playing Paul McCartney's guitar when we first see him. Braun is playing right-handed. Paul McCartney famously plays left-handed, meaning Braun doesn't have a damn clue what he's doing. Now, to symbolize the end of his empire are all of the Omega symbols hidden on the island. Seems a little weird for a company called Alpha to have Omega symbols. As you can see on the boat, the robe Claire is wearing, the pendant Lionel wears at the dinner party, and watch that Blanc wears is an Omega. And get this, Alpha is the first letter in the Greek alphabet, while Omega is the last letter, meaning that this is the end of Braun's story. And if you know your Greek mythology, Cassandra is a fraternal twin to Helenus, so Andy and Helen in the movie, and Cassandra was gifted with seeing the prophecies of the future, aka the future of Alpha Company, but was cursed into no one believing her by Apollo, in the movie's case, the dangers of Clear. And another myth mentions the arrival of Helen will spark the downfall and destruction of Troy during the Trojan War, which translates to Helen in the movie dismantling the Alpha Empire when she shows up to the island. Maybe I'm reaching, maybe a bit, but I don't know, it's there. Anyway, I got a kick out of Glass Onion. Lots and lots of layers to the characters, mystery, everything at play. I loved the set design of the main room in The Glass Onion. The jokes and random references Johnson threw in there were great. Like the Daryl interruptions, every time I got a kick out of it. I don't know, it was a fun mystery whodunit that feels like it exists in the same world as the first while being completely different. I'd probably give it a solid 7.5 out of 10, but my biggest bugaboo was the time jump reveal with the twin happening midway. Like, it felt like that was the big reveal of the movie, and it was a bit meh after the fact. I don't know, I still had a blast with it, don't get me wrong, and I can't wait to see a third. Yes, Netflix is supposed to make a third one, buying up the rights, so don't worry, Blanc will be back. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Glass Onion. Did this mystery keep you guessing until the very end? And how does this stack up with the first Knives Out mystery? And I'll let you know, we're currently running a competition giving away 3 copies of Black Adam, Baby, and Dawn of the Dead on the 15th of January. And all you got to do to get a chance of winning this is like this video, subscribe with notifications on, and drop your comments down below on Glass Onion. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of last month are on screen right now. So if that's you, message us on Twitter at Heavy Spoilers. If you want something else to watch, be sure to check out some of our other videos. We just did a huge breakdown for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and so good. But with that out of the way, thanks for your constant support. I've been Jared. Have a great holiday. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.